Today we're going to learn how to solve system of equations by using the elimination method. This is without multiplication. That will be a whole separate lesson, but here's an example of what these questions might look like. Before we start solving, we got to make sure that we know how to turn linear equations back into standard form. That is going to make things a lot easier. So standard form is when all your variables, your x and y's, are on the left side, ax plus by, and all your numbers, your constant term, c, is on the right. Looking at this first one, you want x and y's on the left, and that is not the case. That is out of place. You want it on the left side. I'm going to give you guys this shortcut. The easiest way to do this, if you want to flip this over on the other side, pretend it's jumping over the equal sign, then all you got to do is switch that positive to negative. So we can rewrite this as 2x minus 3y equals negative 4. All you're really doing is subtracting 3y on both sides, and that's why it turns from positive to negative. Let's do the next one really quick. Look at what's out of place, and if you're thinking this is out of place, then you're thinking the same thing as me. If you want to flip it to the left side, then just flip the sign. Minus 5x. So we can write this as negative 5x plus 2y equals negative 2. The last one I kind of tricked you with it. They are on the same side, but they're flip-flopped. If they're flip-flopped like this, you just got to rearrange the order. You're not flipping any signs. You got to just write negative 2x first, minus 4y equals 2. So now that you know how to put that in standard form, let's apply it to elimination. On the top left, I showed you step by step on how to solve this. So number one, and here's the checklist, put your equations in standard form. Put both equations in standard form. So if you look at the first one, it is in standard form. You don't even have to touch it. And if you look at the second one, it is also in standard form. You don't have to touch it. So that's done. Let's move on to the next step. Try to look for terms that will eliminate. When you're solving systems, you are allowed to combine like terms from top to bottom. You're allowed to combine them as long as they all match up. So they do match up, and as you can see, if I combine these from top to bottom, then one of your variables will cancel. And how can you tell? If you got a negative of a number, adding it to the positive of the same number, like they're both 6's, but one is positive and negative, it's going to cancel, because if I add them, it's going to equal 0. And then combine 4 and 5, 5 and 4, that is 9y. 1 and negative 10 is negative 9. So after combining like terms, all we got to do is solve. This is an equation, one-step equation to solve for y. Divide both sides by 9. Now you got y equals negative 1. And then the last step. So we did both of those steps. Last step. Substitute your answer to solve for the other variable. I'm going to erase this really quick. It doesn't matter where you plug this y into. You can plug it on the first equation or the second. You determine what is easier. I tend to look for things with less negative numbers and smaller numbers. So I'm just going to pick this second equation, and I'm going to plug in that y answer. Y equals negative 1. So I'm going to take 6x plus 4. But instead of rewriting y, we're going to exchange it with the new information that we found. We're going to exchange that y with this number, negative 1. And what will that get you? All you got to do is simplify, and it will get you x. So 4 times negative 1, that's negative 4. 6x minus 4 equals negative 10. That's a simple equation. Add 4. Now you got 6x equals negative 6, and the last step, divide by 6. And you got x equals negative 1. Check. To check your answer, All you gotta do is take both of your answers, your x and y, plug it back into the main equation, and as long as that checks out and it makes a true statement, then you did that right. Let's look at a different scenario. So this one's a little different. Number one, always make sure that your equations are in standard form. If you look at this one, that one checks out, but the bottom one is all messed up. So just determine what's messed up, and it is this 4x. It's on the wrong spot. So if you want to flip it to the other side, then you just have to change its sign, and we can rewrite that as negative 4x plus 2y equals negative 30. I'm just flipping this to the other side. The top one we don't have to change because that is already in standard form. So I'm just going to rewrite it right here. So that is done. Number two, try to look for the terms that will eliminate, and you can really tell right away. Same number, and if you look at these x's, they're the same number, but one's positive and one's negative. Those are going to cancel if you combine them. So that's going to cancel. Now we got to just combine like terms and solve. 8 plus 2y is 10y equals negative 10 divided by 10, and you got yourself y. Y equals negative 1. The last step, substitute your answer to solve for the other variable. Now that you have this information, we can plug that in for this or this. You pick. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to pick the second equation again. 2 parentheses equals 4x minus 30. I'm replacing that y with what this says, with negative 1. And now I have an equation once again to solve for x. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 equals 4x minus 30. Add 30 to both sides. And now you're going to get your x. 28 equals 4x divided by 4. X equals 7. If you want to check your answers, plug those bad boys back into the main equation, just like this, and you did this correctly. Take a second to take a piece of paper and pause the video. When you are done, just unpause it for the answer, and hopefully ours matches up. Here is the answer for this sample problem. As you can see, both the equations are not in standard form. If they're flip-flopped, it's a hard word to say for me. If they're mixed up like that, and they're on the same side, you don't have to change the signs. You just gotta switch them up. The bottom one, this is out of place. So you actually have to bring it over the equal sign. Bring it on the left side. That one you're gonna have to change it to a positive 6y. These are the terms that will cancel, and this time we get x first. Once you have this number, you can pick from this equation or this. It doesn't matter. They're going to get you the same answer. Plug it back in. Plug your new information in. Then I'll have an equation to solve for y. If you want to check your answer, all you got to do is plug these answers back into the main equation. And as long as both of these statements become true, then you did that right. I hope that made sense. I will make a video with multiplication included within the systems, but that's a whole nother lesson. Until then, I hope I helped you. If I did, throw a like, a subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.